everyone. So in this video, we'll be going over a midterm exam review for Math 151. Okay. For this midterm exam, it will consist of 30 questions. So the first module will be 7 questions, module 2 will be 17 questions, and module 3 will be 6 questions. The topics covered would be solving equations for x, temperature conversions from Fahrenheit to Celsius or Celsius to Fahrenheit, fractions, dimensional analysis for dosage calculations, unit conversions, portions, percents, and linear equations. Okay. So down here, I have some practice questions that you guys can utilize in order to study for this midterm exam. Okay, so here is an example. Of course, it's not going to be the same questions. They're just not the exact same questions, but they're about the same. Okay, so converting 60 Fahrenheit to Celsius. So we have, first, we have to use the formula. So C equals 59 parentheses Fahrenheit minus 32 parentheses, okay? And here's a memory trick. So 5 fine friends left at 32. So 5/9 Fahrenheit friends left at 32. And before we begin this, we have to remember PEMDAS. So PEMDAS is parentheses, exponent, multiplication and division, addition and subtraction. So memory trick is, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So the first thing that we're going to do is plug in that 60. We're going to put that 60 in that parentheses for that Fahrenheit minus 32. So we're doing the parentheses first. So 60, we subtract 60 minus 32, and that's 28. Then we are going to multiply, right? So we're going to multiply 5/9 over 28. So 5 times 28 is 140. 9 moves over. So 140 divided by 9, that is 15.56. So that is how you calculate Fahrenheit to Celsius. Then we have decitron. So a decitron is a nausea medication. So this has a concentration of 4 grams per milliliter. So what is the mass of 20 milliliters of this medication? So we have the concentration of 4 grams per milliliter. The volume or the mass would be 20 milliliters. So of course, this isn't what you will actually prescribe to a patient. Of course, in math, anything is possible, okay? So we have 4 grams per milliliters times 20 mLs. So all you do here, you're multiplying that 4 times 20, and then you will get 80 grams, okay? In converting, so we're converting 3 gallons to liters. So each gallon is 3.78 liters. So if we are given 1 gallon that is 3.78 liters, we have to multiply however many gallons we need, right? So we have 3 gallons times 3.78 5 liters. And then your answer would be 11.355, okay? So that's how you convert. You're just multiplying. Now solving for x, okay? So solving for x, all you want to do with solving for x is to leave your x alone, okay? You need to have your x alone, and whatever you do on one side, you need to do that to the other side, okay? So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to distribute the 8, the negative 8, okay? So for both sides. So the first thing we're going to do is 8 times 2. So PEMDAS, remember what's on the parentheses. So 8 times 2, that's 16. 8 times 4, so 8 times 2, 16, 8 times 4, that is 32. So you have on this left side, x negative 16 plus 32 equals, and what you will do on this other side, the same thing, negative 8. So negative 8 times 4 is going to be 32. And so you do the same thing with this side, and that will be negative 12x. So you put that together, so you have negative 16 plus 32 equals negative 12x minus 32. From here, you're combining these like terms, okay? So although there's not a 1 present there, you still have 1x. So it's an imaginary 1, right? So what you'll do, you'll subtract that from the 16. So you end up with 15x. 15x's are, negative 15x's are on there now, okay? So you don't have a whole x, you have negative 15x's. So negative 15x's plus 32 equals negative 12, negative 32. So we want to move all the x's to one side, okay? So what you will do is then negative 15 plus 12, because you're moving that x over to the side, plus 32, and then you have negative 32. So you're moving that guy over. From there, you'll go ahead and distribute that. So then it would be negative 15 minus that negative 12 minus that negative 12. You bring that over. Those two equal 0. So you'll have negative 3x plus 32 equals 32. From there, you'll subtract those 32 because you want to get rid of that 32, right? You want to leave that x alone. And what ends up happening, 32 plus 32, that'll be negative 64. So negative 3x equals negative 64. From there, you solve for x, so you're dividing both sides by 3. So whenever that happens, you have a negative, it'll be a positive, okay? Negative times a negative equals a positive. So negative 3 times negative 64, that will be 64, and then negative 3 times negative 3, that will be 3. So your answer would be 64 over 3, okay? Subtracting fractions, okay? So what you will do with the fractions, you have to find the common denominator. So the least common denominator between 8 and 10 is 40. So 1/8 equals 540 and 2/10 equals 840. That's the common denominator for each of those. And the way you find that is by you'll do 1 over 8. So that's not the same common denominator. So you'll do 2 over 16, or so 1/8 plus 1/8 is 2 over 16. And then you still don't have the same common denominator. So then you'll do 2 over 16 over 1/8, that would be 324. So you're just adding them until you find the denominator or the bottom number that is there, okay? And then your common denominator would be 5/4 and 8/40s, right? So 5/40s and 8/40s. So then from there, all you'll have to do is you'll subtract both of those. So you found your common denominator, so now you're going to subtract both of those fractions, and you will end with negative 3 over 40, okay? Now converting a fraction to a percentage. All you do here is you are dividing, okay? So the line equals divide, and then you multiply by 100 because a percent is out of 100. So 107 divided by 147 equals 0.7286. You multiply it to get 100%. So that would be 0.7286, and that would be 72.86%, okay? Now, dosage calculations for 50 mgs per kg for a 230-pound patient. So you have a patient comes in, you won't need to know how to convert this. So the first thing you need to do is convert your pounds to kilograms. So we are going to be using this conversion. 1 pound equals 2.2 kg, okay? So we know we have to plug that in, that 230 pounds divide by 2.2, that would equal 140.55 kg, okay? Now, in order to calculate that, you have to plug that in. So you have 50 mgs times, or per, remember per is times, per 104.55 kg, and then your answer is 5227.5 mg, okay? Now solving for x in a fraction. So this would be adding in that, finding that common denominator and then putting that x all by itself. So the same thing with here. The really cool thing about these whole numbers is that you can write it in a different way. So you can write it with 1, so 6 over 1. So 6 over 1, you find the common denominator, and then you multiply, okay? So what you will do is 6 times 8 is 48, and 8 times 8, or 8 times 1 is 8. So your common denominator is 48 over 6, okay? So now you have to add the fractions. So 5 over 8, which was a given, plus 48 over 8 equals 53 over 8, okay? And then that will be your answer. There are going to be some questions where I'll ask you to have the decimal point, and all you do is 53 divided by 8, and that's how you get your decimal, okay? Now, make sure you know this vocabulary word, distributive property. Okay, so this states that this means that when you multiply a number by the sum of two other numbers, you can distribute the multiplication to each term in the sum. Okay, so make sure you understand what distributive property is. Okay. And then, so basically all this is you have your, so remember parentheses, so you have A, B, so there it is, and then you have A, C. So you're just distributing that A to form something different, okay? So if this was like 1 and 2, it would be like 1 and 2, or and then 1 and 3, okay? And then the final thing would be finding the percentage after a discount. Okay, so the Louis Vuitton shoes are originally priced at 1.5 at 1,500. They're on sale for 75% off. So what is the sales price? Okay, so first we have to calculate that discount. So the first thing we'll do, we know that it's 1,500. You're going to multiply that for 75%. So in order to move that to a percent, you just have to move your decimal over twice, okay? So that would be 0.75, and you multiply that, and that would equal 100. Oh, that would equal 1,125, okay? And make sure you know that you are not done here, so that it's going to try to trick you, and this is going to be on the answer choice. You're not done. Now what you have to do is subtract a discount from the original price to find that sales price, okay? So the original price was 1,500 minus what we got the discount for, the 75%, which is 1,125. So the total amount for this Louis Vuitton is going to be $375, okay? That would be after the 75% discount. So these are some of the examples of questions that you might receive. If you have any specific questions, please don't hesitate to reach out, and I am more than happy to help out, and good luck on your exams.